take this and edit it into an edited video. Just it is so hard to sit down and make an edited video. And this is something that I saw get brought up. A channel I follow closely, Legion of Men, he covered Bernie Sanders. And I'm actually subscribed to Bernie Sanders. And I did see his upload about, something about automation. I've just glossed over it. But like what got to me the most was the conversation I saw going in the comment section, and that's what I'm going to end this with. I have some notes I wrote down just to reiterate my thoughts that I have expressed before, but I think like more in messages, it is useful to repeat important messages. People need to know because, in my opinion, the people that really think that automation, especially in the manufacturing industry, is going to take over completely anytime soon or anytime in our lifetimes. I'm a 38-year-old woman myself. I think those people don't have any experience in manufacturing themselves. And that's perfectly fine. We need everybody. I don't think I'm better than anybody because I've worked at a bunch of factories and warehouses, but I have also worked for Amazon at two different warehouses, and I've worked at a Walmart warehouse. So I have a lot of experiences, even with the biggest corporations. So I do understand if anybody is going to automate any processes, it would be somebody as big as Amazon, in my opinion. And I know Bernie brought Amazon up, but even so, I have a lot to say about that. As far as automating manufacturing, the number one reason, in my opinion, this is not going to happen anytime soon is because machines are moving parts that need constant maintenance. They need lubrication most days. There are people at the last factory I worked at, they called them processing. They were there just to move the machines around because you move them around often, especially you use different, they call them molds, dyes. They need to help us troubleshoot them because the people running the machines can troubleshoot, but only so much. There's so many things that can go wrong with a big machine with a lot of working parts, and they need constant maintenance. It's like these people aren't mindful of that at all, and they seem to think like there is such thing as a robot, a machine that's just made and needs no other human interaction. Like even if it was some robot that had extreme artificial intelligence, it would still need that human putting the lubrication in the joints and like the moving parts and replacing parts when they break down, especially now with our planned obsolescence, that things like break down so easily. Hi, I'm going to get through my notes and then I will get in the chat, just so everybody knows. So machines need constant maintenance and lubrication, parts break down. Troubleshooting can often take several people. A broken part in one machine can cause the whole assembly line to be down. Imagine if the people running the robots, the machines were robots themselves, and one of those breaking down would shut the whole assembly line down. One person calling in doesn't cause the whole assembly line to get shut down. I'm saying this as somebody who has worked at several factories, especially in auto manufacturing, okay? I have not worked for Toyota. I have helped to make Toyotas and Lexuses. Like it doesn't get much more expensive. I know there's like Porsches and Rolls Royce and everything, but for us general people in general auto manufacturing, they still have machines from the 1980s, and these are plants making Lexus. Like it's like simple heaters that like there's no problem. I don't think there's anything wrong with having these old machines. I'm glad they're not like getting new machines every year, but I'm saying they still have machines from the 1980s in these facilities making your luxury car parts. They're not going to be replacing all the humans with robots anytime soon. Just the lubrication that is involved. Like you need somebody, these process guys would like climb up in these machines. There was a $2 million machine at the last factory I worked at. Somebody always had to be with it, always, because if that machine started to smoke, you needed to shut it down. If an emergency alarm went off, you weren't allowed to leave that machine until you had shut it down. There could be a tornado coming at the building. You had to sit there and shut that $2 million machine down. Like these people don't, I'm sorry, I don't mean it to be patronizing, but this is one reason I talk about the blue collar work, especially the supply chain, because it is so looked down upon, but it is so important and it is skilled labor. It might not be a skill to somebody that went to school engineering, but it takes skills. And these people do a lot. It is multitasking, running a machine on an assembly line, not to mention if you're making, especially interior car parts, not even interior, if you're making any safety components, anything that anything safety wise or anything that touches a safety component is considered a safety component too. These things are so crucial to handle correctly and then to package correctly. And you think of all those steps, feeding the material into the machines, possibly troubleshooting the machine, even if everything goes perfectly smoothly, taking the materials out of the machine and then packaging them. Let's not even talk about quality. I know from being in quality, the human eye catches things that computers with cameras and sensors don't. Okay? We all make mistakes, humans and computers, but they still have two human beings checking every part for quality. As they should, you're spending 40, 60,000 carb, right? but they need our eyes. My human eyes would catch things that the computers working with sensors and all these lights and cameras would not catch. Like, I don't know why this is so lost upon people other than they themselves have never worked in manufacturing. And if anybody in the chat has, like, I'd really be interested in seeing if you like agree with me. And once again, I already said like Amazon, maybe so. Amazon has so much money floating around, but still, even in the automated Amazon facilities, I've heard there's still a person right by the robot at all times. There's less walking around for the person. The robot goes and gets the things, but they still have to bring the bins to the people, and the people have to sift through the bins because they still don't have the technology to actually sift through a bin of multiple items and pull the one item out that's needed. Doesn't that say a lot? Because it is so fragile. And then, like, when you calibrate something to work like that, when if you could calibrate a machine to pack a pallet, to put a pallet in order so it could be shipped somewhere. Like just one little thing knocking it wrong could make it like cause to recalibrate. And then it's not going to recalibrate itself. You have to go over there as a human and press all the buttons and know how to recalibrate it. Like I'm sorry. It's like you just don't know anything about manufacturing. And in my opinion, I think Bernie does know well enough to know all this though. And I agree. He probably has like he's probably invested in it, in AI. He's probably like hoping this is a self-fulfilling prophecy and he like encourages people to invest in this. Machines need humans. I can't stress that enough. I already talked about quality, machines from the 80s. If anything, a little bit more automation will lend to more higher paying jobs in factories and manufacturing, in my opinion. There might be less people making the bottom dollar per hour, but the people that are working there are going to be taking care of these high end millions of dollars machines that can think like a human being, but not really. And like they're going to be paid more. The people that did the processing, which was, I was saying, handled the machines, the troubleshooting, the actual maintenance and fixing of them, they made the most of anybody on the floor that was making an hourly. So, I've done the job at Amazon that's like most popular. Like a lot of people have done picking, where basically you're just going around and fulfilling orders. You put them in bins. Once your bin is full, you put it on the conveyor belt. Like this is not it. Yes, it's an easy enough job. It is easy, but for them to get robots to be able to do all of it, it's not going to happen anytime soon. I'm sorry. It's just like, in my opinion, it's not. I'm done with my notes. I would really, really like. Oh, okay. I'm not quite done with my points. I'm doing really well, Tim. How are you doing? Oh, goodness gracious. So, what really got to me was like in the comment section, the discourse. There was one comment in particular, and take it with a grain of salt when I say it really got to me. It just made me kind of motivated to come on here and say this. This man was like, my 24-year-old son works for UPS and he drives a Amazon. I keep telling him he needs to get in a trade. His jobs are going to be gone in 5 years. I'm like, what the you should be praising your son for working. UPS is a good job. UPS is a really good job. How often do you see UPS hiring? There's a reason for that. UPS is a great job. If my 24-year-old son worked for UPS and Amazon, I would be cheering him on. Tell him you're proud of him. Tell him you're proud of him before you make him one of those million of able-bodied men that are out of work. And I don't mean to shame anybody because I really don't fault young men for not working because they have nothing to work for anymore. So I don't mean that like I think like pull them up by the bootstraps mentality, but it's just the truth. The reality of the situation is there are a lot of not men out of work that should be in work in my opinion, and it's for their own good. It's because they need to be productive and fulfilled, but like yeah, if you have nothing to work for you're not going to feel like that, so I don't really blame them. But it just got to me and I'm sitting here thinking, I wonder what this guy does for a living. I just have a feeling he's not in a trade himself. I think he's probably a pencil pusher. All these people that are like sitting in their cubicles fantasizing over like going to Mars and shit, like, and then this guy Legion of Men, he brought up Tesla's automated taxis, and like you know nothing about Tesla. Obviously, I know that sounds so bitchy, but it's true. You know nothing about it. You need to go watch the channel Thunderfoot if you still believe in any of the nonsense that Elon Musk says, because everything he's promised to happen, none of it comes to fruition. And he promises it for like 5 years, going every single year, next year, next year, next year. I don't see how he gets away with this stuff. Could you imagine if a woman did that? No, she wouldn't get away. Like just if I there's something about a white man with an accent. I don't know. There's something about that. My grandpa was from Switzerland. It was the same thing with him. And he really was a cool, charming person. He sincerely was. But man, people love a tall white man with an accent. Okay, delivering packages gets brought up a lot. We're never gonna have drones flying around delivering packages everywhere. Okay, just by me doing Instacart and DoorDash, oh my gosh, you guys don't understand how many country bumpkins don't even have their addresses on their houses out here in the countryside in Kentucky. How would a robot find these places? There's properties with multiple dwellings on one property where it's like, oh, it's not the trailer in the front. Go to it's the trailer in the back, and I think that's great. Like personally, I love that. I want a property with multiple dwellings on it one day, but I'm going to be mindful of packages being delivered because I know what it's like to stumble upon one of those properties and not know what to do. And it's like there's so much troubleshooting involved. And it's a lot of these people that like have been conditioned to think these jobs are so easy. They're mindless. Oh, they're burger flipping for a kid only. You should never have a living wage just like doing work for 40 hours a week. God, you moron. And it's like that kind of mentality that's lending to all of this. And I like Legion of Men because he is one person that points it out very well. And he doesn't tell men, like, he's very honest with our current situations. He's not telling men, like, I mean, he does encourage them to work harder, but at the same time, he is honest about, like, especially the housing market. I mean, it is just insane. Not to mention all the other obstacles that one can come about when it comes to delivering packages. Oh my goodness, like dogs, other animals, just obstacles in general. People, please be mindful of like if you have anything going on. Like you'd be surprised. I did pizza delivery for one night. Yeah, it was one of my one day jobs, and I'm not ashamed. I tried a lot of different jobs that didn't work out, but like and Domino's delivery was one of them. And I also won't ever eat there after seeing how they wash their pizza pans because they don't have a dishwasher. Anyways, so they have this system where I guess it's like legally. I never worked at a restaurant that didn't have an actual industrial dishwasher before, and it's like disgusting that they have these hot pizza pans. They like dip in these chemical degreasers and then some like chemical sanitizer thing, and you can never really rub it, scrub it off. It was so gross to me. But anyways, so yeah, not everybody is. This is America. The whole point is anybody should be used to be able to come here and just have a good work ethic, and you would be fine. It's not like that anymore. I'll never forget a few years ago, my now 18-year-old son, when I was talking to him about college and like if he has any idea what his interests are and everything, because like, yeah, I don't expect them to know by the age of 18 what they're going to do for the rest of their life, but it's my job to help them figure out whatever it is that they're going to do in your 20s and 30s, especially as a man. I'm sorry. Yeah, especially as an able bodied man. You should be focusing as much as you can on building your monetary wealth at that point. And my son said to me, he's like, I'm no, I'm just going to get a job just like you and dad. I'll be fine. And I'm like, but that's not I hate to say it, it's not gonna be fine. And how we feel as millennials about our boomer parents, that's like I just can't imagine what their generation is gonna feel, Generation Z, about like us as millennials. I think it might even be worse than that. You really need to think about that if you're a parent right now. And like we need to like focus on the future. Like we can't really do much besides that. So I'm interested. Yeah, Carlos, I can talk. I'm interested to see if anybody, especially has a dissenting opinion. Like, do you work in a factory or warehouse and see there being absolutely like fully automated factories and warehouses anytime soon? Do you think I'm wrong? I I work with robots, J23W said. Well, do you mind talking more about what you do? Thank you, Mr. Carey. How are you doing today, Mr. Carey? Thank you, Poria. That's funny, Pablo. Die. It's not about manufacturing, it's a software issue. The recalibration can be easily done with what they call a watchman. Okay, Die. So are you saying that could be like programmed into the machine if you're still in here? Because I've never had a machine that could recalibrate itself. It was always several buttons that had to be pressed. And granted, like I said, I don't kn a lot of these machines weren't new. The assembly line I worked on, actually, it was, 4 years old, okay? So, the machines were new, and, like, with a new assembly line, it takes a year or 2 to work out the kinks. Like, everybody knows at the beginning of a new assembly line, new machines involved, it's going to take a while to work out all the flaws and issues and stuff. I couldn't imagine having, like, AI pop onto the scene, and, like, I really don't believe, like, with any cell in my being that AI is going to take over manufacturing in our lifetimes. If it's going to take over anything, it's going to be computer software technicians. And I don't say that like with any glee in my heart. I'm not saying that like haha like I still think that there's going to always be a benefit to having a human involved. And like you can tell when something's AI, right? You can tell when somebody's used AI to help them, right? Or a lot of us can, not everybody probably. But it's always I think there's always gonna be those of us, just like people still like analog recording in their vinyl records over the digital recording, you know? There's always gonna be people that crave the, like, actual real. Now, it's sad that it is lost upon so many people, but, I don't think it's gonna happen in manufacturing. I think, like, doctors, nurses, like, there's always gonna be we need somebody to take the blood, right? But, like, can you imagine, like, the doctors use computers to type in symptoms and help them figure out what the diagnosis is too sometimes. Like, that's just get the lab work done by the people that help you get your lab work done, put all that into a computer. How much longer do you think we're gonna need we will always need surgeons, right? But even surgery is done with robots nowadays. Okay, I wanna make sure I didn't miss anybody saying that. Joe, I didn't say help to make Lexus and Mercedes. I said Lexus and Toyota because, Toyota makes Lexus. And my point is, well, I know it's not the most luxurious car. Those are higher end vehicles in the big scheme of things for most of us people. And like the machines that they use, there's still machines from the 1980s in there. And yeah, and I think that's a good thing. I don't think that they should be replacing their whole everything every year. That would be insane. But yeah, the same. Hope you are good, Lydia. Mr. Carey said, I'm doing pretty good. Um, can AI recalibrate my wife, Michael? Oh my goodness. Home point is are you talking about recalibrating? Thank you, Tim. AI will always just be a tool and will require different jobs to facilitate them and robots to work effectively. That I can definitely agree with. Yeah, there's like this manufacturing thing. I think if anything, it's like more to pull the wool over our eyes why they I don't know. There's just going to be a lot going on in the next few years. I think we're in the middle, in my opinion, of like a Great Depression, like the Great Depression 2.0. And instead of being realistic and being like a bunch of people are getting ready to lose their jobs, they're going to be like, Chicken Little. Oh no, the sky's falling down. Oh my gosh, it's like AI is getting ready to take over. But that's what like anybody that actually works in a factory knows that like if for every machine there needs to be a person, like the vast majority of the time. So like keep adding machines into it and there's still going to be people that need to maintain those machines. Are you asking where I am from? I'm from Kentucky. I've lived in California and Florida and Indiana. Have you read Wired Magazine article Why the Future Doesn't Need Us by Bill Joy? Kevin asked. No, Kevin. I'm going to screenshot that and I'll look that up. I hope it's a free article. So many things aren't free. You have to pay subscriptions for everything. Oh my, and like all this editing software, I'm trying to find new editing on my phone. It's so frustrating how I miss the days of when most apps were free, right? And like now you can't make like I got stickers apps to make little emojis for my memberships. Those all cost money. They all cost money. And it's so frustrating. Um, eat more whale blubber, Carl said. Why are you saying it with a question mark? Or maybe you didn't mean to put that question mark. I think that could be beneficial for a lot of people, but I also think it's the kind of thing that's like your genetic background plays a lot into what diet suits you best. So, the people that grew up in those regions where they ate a lot of whale blubber, they're going to benefit the most from that. I would definitely try it though. I think we cut out good fat too much, and that's a huge problem. Like you need good fat, like you need good protein and good carbs. I think carbs less than the fat and protein though, right? It's a ratio genius. One machine replaces an entire it, no, but Johnny, how can one machine replace have you ever worked on an assembly line? Um, that's what I'm saying. We wouldn't have the same production numbers if you have one machine running an assembly. Like people don't realize how needed people are for the supply chain. Okay, I know I am close to somebody who worked in m- developing software for warehouses. I just happened to be really close to somebody who had that for a job for a few years. They're not automating this stuff anytime soon. They can't automate taking a pallet down from where the pallet is. You understand what I'm saying? They can't automate a forklift to say, hey, we need that pallet from up there on this aisle. Like, go get it. They can't automate that, guys. Like, we really don't like. And then if they did, and I'm not saying it's absolutely impossible, I'm saying it's not plausible for whole industries, if they did do that, it'd be a machine that would cost millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. I would guess at least $8 million, okay? Compared to the forklift, which is a pretty penny. I don't know exactly how much a forklift costs. It might even be 100,000. They're serious machines. But like, and what the salary of the forklift driver, and once again, if that forklift driver calls in, somebody can like replace them right away. If that machine breaks down, it is we've had parts, we've had overtime because a part was needed and somebody had to drive all over the state of Kentucky to get the part to replace in the machine. It's like you guys don't understand. There's working parts in machines that need constant maintenance. They need to be lubricated on a daily basis. And then you need to clean up where there might be like hydraulic fluid spilled or something. There's just so much that goes into running machines. And it's obvious to anybody that touts it's going to be automated. The manufacturing industry specifically, I'm not saying no industry, but the industries that will be that will be automated first, in my opinion, in my humble peon, just to stay at home mom opinion, is things like doctors, lawyers. The lawyers, attorneys already are on their way out. Think about how much more of the like online has taken over with attorneys and legal things. I've never gotten this many viewers on a Sunday afternoon. I thought I wasn't going to get any viewers in this. I really appreciate all of you guys. I'm done with my notes and I've made all my points, but I want to kind of reiterate them again for anybody that just came in here. Machines need constant maintenance, lubrication. One broken down machine, the whole assembly line breaks down. I just don't understand this thought that there's going to be, our trains are still like from the 1800s. Isn't the technology in our trains here in the US of A like from the 1800s? We don't have bullet trains here, guys. Do you think they're going to automate manufacturing here anytime soon? I'm sorry, they're not. I don't mean to be condescending, but I say this as somebody who I feel like people are being condescending towards me because I've worked in factories and warehouses, and I'm like one person that actually has worked in a factory or warehouse, like have something to say about this. I'd be really interested in it. And machines need humans in case they catch fire. There's $1, $2 million machine. Somebody always had to be by it. If it started to smoke, you had to turn it to off immediately because it has caught fire before. And if there was an emergency alarm, meaning like a tornado, something like that happening, somebody had to, you weren't allowed to go with everybody else out the door. You had to sit there, and it took a few minutes to shut that machine down if you were the person running that machine, because that's how serious certain things are. You have to baby the parts, feeding materials into it, just like it's like not fed into the machine just right. It can cause the machine to be, need recalibrating. Something I brought up was somebody said, sure, you can program a machine to do that. I've never ran a machine. I've run so dozens of machines that needed recalibrated. None of them did it by themselves. That's the whole point, is like you have to go in there and do something. Sometimes you have to put in a certain part for it to do it. Like I've never worked in a manufacturing machine that could recalibrate itself. As somebody who's ran, I'm not kidding, like 3 dozen machines, mostly auto manufacturing. I'm sorry, all auto manufacturing when I did that. And there's like machines from the 1980s at the plant I just worked at where they make Lexus and Toyotas, like, which I think is a good thing. I think it's good they're still using machines that are like 40 years old, but they're not going to like come in there with like several $1 million AI robots to run the machines from the 1980s. You guys just like really don't get it. If anything, with a little bit more automation, there will be more higher paying jobs, hourly jobs on the floor in factories, because the people that make the most hourly wise were the process guys, the guys that had the most to do with the machines. They maintained them, they moved them around when they needed moved, they fixed them when they needed fixed. And they would help us troubleshoot them, because in addition to the person running the machine, like sometimes you needed one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 other people to help you troubleshoot something. And like, I'm sorry, no, this isn't all going to be automated. And then like those machines themselves will have the moving parts that also need the constant maintenance, that also break down sometimes. I think that that was all of my points. And then I saw this comment where this person was ragging on their son for working for UPS and Amazon, driving a semi for Amazon, ragging on him for not being in a trade at 24 years old. And that just like gets to me that we need to, any hardworking individual, but like I'm gonna say it, especially man. I do. I feel like men just get the shit into the stick a little bit more when it comes to this, like to being praised, because for so long, like women want to like oppress them in the same way, like they're becoming what they hated sometimes, and like they don't want to like. And that's where it comes out that people are like, oh, women don't appreciate that men run all of infrastructure. In my opinion, I think most women do, but it's a loud minority that ruin it for the rest of us. But yeah, we need to just, if you have a hardworking child, oh my goodness, you should be so proud of them. In this day and age, when it would be so easy to just like, you have hardly anything to work for, that person is like going out there and getting 2 jobs. It's like that's all you can do now, especially as a young person. And oh my gosh, it just gets to me that there's people out there, and I feel like it's a little bit of fear mongering. And in my opinion, I know I sound like a bitch. I don't care. That person's probably a pencil pusher that like has never had a physical job in their life. And they're sitting there telling their son to get into a trade. I could be wrong. I know I could be wrong, but I just have a feeling they aren't in a trade themselves. Okay. So I am done reiterating my notes and pick Misha Quincy Jacobs. I think being a pick Misha is going into random lives and trying to like get attention being negative. That's like the most pick Misha behavior in the planet. Caterpillar does it, Buck Thompson said. Recalibrates, Buck? Well, that's good to know. Do you eat potted? Oh, we got Amish here who work in combines and stuff that are GPS robot run, but the person still has to be in it in case something goes wrong. Yoder said, exactly, right? There's almost always a person involved in like when you think about it, there used to be more people in manufacturing, period, and we have had more machines, right? Like altogether, I really don't see it being fathomable that like automation will take over completely. And I've worked for Amazon in two Amazon facilities. I've worked for Walmart in a Walmart warehouse, not the store, the actual giant warehouses. That maintenance book said. Um, Bullethead James, thank you for saying hit the like. I really appreciate that. About 20 years behind the times, Buck said. Are you saying that to me? I'm just talking about the factory I last worked for, which like that is the whole point. There's a lot of things that like I just think people think everything looks like a Elon Musk Starship facility and everything's like brand spanking new. A lot of these factories that haven't had subsidies, like hundreds of millions of dollars from our tax dollars in our government, that these people look up to when in regards to talking about all this automation and manufacturing. If I make your brain hurt, then you can leave. I guess you need to be told that, but you feel free to leave. And see, this is why a lot of women just throw their hands up in the air and don't give a shit about the loneliness and the male loneliness epidemic. Like, let's be real, you all do it to yourselves. You alienate yourselves, you're mean to other people, including other men. You don't have friends, you don't cultivate relationships with your fellow peers. And then you shit on women, you're misogynistic towards every woman. You look for people to be mean to and to tear down, and you're gonna be alone forever if you like don't cut that out. And I completely welcome dissenting opinions, debate me. That's what I'm saying. Like somebody please tell me you've worked in factories and warehouses and you disagree with me and why. Like I sincerely want that perspective because I love to hear other people's perspectives. And that's what I love so much about the internet. And I don't understand like how so many people have been twisted into like hating other people that don't think exactly like them about every fucking thing. It's like it's so warped. We have the opportunity to learn so much from so many people. Even when somebody's mean to me, I'm sure there's something that I could learn from them if I sat down and talked to them long enough. And that's what kind of gets to me. It's like, I would like to have a conversation with anybody, no matter how much you disagree with me about something. Somebody did it a few lives ago and he said he ended up subscribing. I didn't think he was going to subscribe, but it's like, I respect all human beings. And that's why it's like, that's why I look down so much on people that don't do unto others. And, but I like trolls sometimes. They can be funny. Don't get me wrong. There is no male loneliness epidemic. It's a male loser epidemic, Takata said. Yeah, like I said, I think they bring it on themselves. Women are having babies, less babies. Women are getting married less at the same rates, but we don't walk around talking about how we're lonely because we actually cultivate relationships with other females and people in our lives. And we can nurture and mother beings and make fun of us, call us cat women or whatever. And I'm a married mother of three, but I totally welcome um people being more mindful in their choices of having children, but it does make me sad that it seems a lot of people express they genuinely want a partnership and they can't find that. And I don't think everybody's meant to be married at all, at all. Build program Thrive wants to know my net worth. I don't know exactly what my house is worth right now, but we're almost debt free, and I'm proud about saying that. I've even had people make me feel like threatened that, oh, you could get sued. People know your house is almost paid off. I'm proud of that. That's what we're blue collar workers. We made smart choices in regards to buying a house. Not everybody can do that though. And that's what it's like, that's becoming more out of touch for more people, especially young people. And that was the number one way as Americans climbed up the economic ladder was home ownership. So I have very little debt. I have cars that have over 200,000 miles too, but I'm fine with that. I feel wealthier with less bills than getting more into debt and whatever. Yeah, some Titus freaks try to make me feel like I shouldn't have said that I'm almost debt free because Titus and Stephanie might take my money. Because the horse molester and indecent in front of male children person is going to have the law on his side when it comes to me talking about it on YouTube, right? Tim said, "Love you, Lydia. You're my friend now." After we've had our argument, sometimes becoming, sometimes getting into little tiffs strengthen friendships, but I still feel bad about raising my voice at you, Tim. I shouldn't have done that. Quincy, Takata, women don't mind losers. Women don't like mean men. Quincy, yeah, that's a really good point. I get what you're saying with that, because there's so many mean men and the bar is so low, women will tolerate an awful lot. And I have a great husband. We have 3 sons together. I think we're products of our environment. So when I say these things about men, I really do. I look at everybody as like, at the heart of it, we were all born innocent babies. We're all thrown in this world, and a lot of us, like, sincerely, because of the environment we came from, it is a lot more difficult for us to unpack. That doesn't mean I want to be around you and deal with your unresolved trauma and nonsense and everything. But I don't like really completely blame hurt people that lash out at people. But yeah, I wanna stay the F away from them. And if women committed over 90% of violent crime, come on, could you imagine the way that men would talk about us? It's like we're emotional, but like men's emotions cause over 90% of violent crime. So that's I'm gonna say it one more time. I'm not gonna say it anymore in this live. The number one cause of a pregnant woman being unalived in our country in the US is the hands that got her pregnant. The number one reason a woman passes away during a pregnancy in the US is the man that got her pregnant taking her life away from her and their unborn baby. That says it all about the, relationship between men and women. And I mean, I'm here talking about automation and manufacturing, and it still gets brought up. Why? Because there's always like I wonder how often it happens to men that go live. Is there always staunch radical feminists, the man-hating feminists that would tell me I'm a horrible woman for not aborting my 3 sons because they were born males? Like, do they go into males' lives and make everything about men versus women, no matter what they talk about? Honestly, most guys are losers. You just have to keep growing as a person and find someone who makes you better. Matt, something said. And women too. When I say this a lot, women have gone, okay, I think women have evolved a little bit more in this modern day and age, like with their rights and everything. But emotionally, they've gone downhill. Women and men have had detrimental effects from social media and the internet, in my opinion, both, all of us. And um, the men that do take it upon themselves to grow, like, they are so great. Good men are so great that they almost make up for the rest of the bad men, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, there's, like, a more acutely, like, good men and, like, genius men, which I also think plays into a lot of societal things, but, like, then there are, like, acutely, like, good that's how I see society, at least,? And then there are more, like, bad general crime committing men compared to women, but they're still the minority of men. It's like most men do not commit 90% of the crimes. And that's why I think it's interesting when I see the racism in that community. It always comes back to racism with these men, all these misogynistic men. It's always just a matter of time. It's a matter of 5 comments before you find somebody bringing up black men. It's crazy how that happens. And like that's why I was like, I didn't used to think patriarchy was a hierarchy that had like white men at the top and then white women and children and like, but I see it so much in front of my face, it's undeniable. And yeah, they instead of improving on themselves, they just want to like point the finger at everybody else. And they do to black people what we could be doing to them, not should, I don't think we should, but, like, they look at black people and they're like, "Oh my gosh," because like 7, 6, 5% of black people commit a lot of crime. They're gonna look at the whole black race as bad, right? Well, what if we did that to men as women? What if because, like, 5, 6, 7% of you committed 91% of crime, what if we did that, you know? So that's what I think every time I see one of them being racist. I know dudes that sleep with every woman at the job. Okay, I'm gonna show this. Oh, it was deleted by Mr. Carey. Okay, this guy called me a biatch and said to shut the hell up already. See, that's the kind of thing. It's like whoever thinks like if they get a I mean, genuine joy out of that, um, That's the male loneliness epidemic. You know what I mean? I think we are meant to toil. I think we are meant to work hard. There are exceptions, okay? Like if you're disabled, I'm really sorry about that. And I don't mean to make anybody feel bad. And I'm talking about these generalizations. There's a subscriber of mine who takes care of their spouse, you know, a male who takes care of his female spouse. He's her caretaker after a medical incident. Like, and I always think about him after I talk about how like wives are better than husbands. You know, there's always exceptions. There's never general. That's what I don't like about the generalizations. I don't like about the gender roles. A real marriage involves a partnership where like your roles may change from time to time, and that's what makes it so valuable. Ladies can't keep their legs closed. Well, a lot of people are way too promiscuous, men included. You know, who are the ladies that can't keep their legs closed, not keeping their legs closed to? It's men. There is a problem with promiscuity, and I really do think that it's a big part of the downfall of our society, honestly. I think that um I'm gonna sound like such a freak. Then I'm gonna go. I think like Freemasons, those like elite secret societies, the people that like would sit around and talk about like uh truths, you know. I think they knew that like our one of our greatest energies is the sexual energy, and they've used it to placate people and to control people like greatly. And they knew as the population grew, one way they could control us was by like encouraging casual sex. Okay, I'm sorry if I missed anybody's comments. I feel like Mira Fox left a lot of comments. I did that say I'm rude. Why would Hollywood help me then? Ladies having babies and it's not yours. Oh, country bugging. If you're still here, I think that the newborn blood work they do, I do think they should include a paternity test. And in my opinion, I think it's probably more rare than before the days of paternity tests, but I do think that they should confirm fathers because that's just so awful. I couldn't. You know, that happened to one of my sons. Why do you okay, that wasn't for me. Okay, just asking. Mhm. You see what you wanna see. Yeah, you could say that about anything with anybody. Well, late stage capitalism is what's wrong with reality right now, in my opinion. They're just siphoning everything off of us, and most people are in survival mode. So most of us can't thrive, grow, create the innovation that we would be if we weren't stuck in survival mode right now. And we all suffer from it. And like people want to just like put like wealth on a pedestal so much so that they're not doing what I think they could be doing now about the wealth disparities. Um, no, the people with soapbox are the people that go to lives and try to get attention. El Bueller, I'm just trying to say that, like, with an accent, a French accent or something, what the fuck? If you want attention really badly, go build up 100 subscribers with your handsome face, and then the things you have to say, and then you can go live. Say whatever you want. Um, I command you to touch your hair. No, I'm really not going to. I made her social and confident, Mira Fox said. Are you talking about somebody you knew? That's nice. Women get their rights from men, Just Cause said. Yeah, from the system that men created to oppress women. Why did you do that, even though we're weaker bodied? I think that says a lot about men. I think they knew way back when that women were so great and powerful and the leaders of the family in so many ways. And I've said this before. I think the natural order in a marriage is for a woman to be more submissive in certain way. But like all of you twist that. That's why I don't like to talk about submission because like what goes in the ears of like the misogynistic men is like something, you know, you need to be submissive to your wives too. That's the whole point. You're submissive to each other in a way that you wouldn't be with anybody else in your life because that's your life partner and you should like always give them the benefit of the doubt the most. You should always be the kindest and the sweetest to them. And yeah, I think way they've like tried to decimate the nuclear family is by like putting these messages in our heads that as women, it's okay to be a bitch. It's okay to bitch at your husband. It's okay to uh, demasculinize, demasculate your husband. That was always a joke, you know. It was always like a big trope and entertainment. It's just ridiculous. And like that men are here to save us. That like you're not life isn't going to be complete until a man saves you. But at the same time, oh, he can't do too much, or like you know that's. I mean, you don't need him. You don't need a man. And so it's really crazy. And like somebody I was watching was talking about like was it Waiting to Exhale? this really famous movie, like, it was in the '90s, and how it's like it was like a cautionary tale about sleeping with married men, young women, like, don't sleep with married men and all the drama that can happen because of it. And, like, here it's like the same things just keep happening, like, people make the same mistakes people always have. 200 years ago, we were doing the same effed up stuff. It just has come to light now more with the internet. And, yeah, when there I made a video about that recently, that whole sentiment that, like, men run all of society and men could pull it out from women. We literally birth everybody. Like, it's a beautiful system when you really look at it as complementary and not like one being better than the other. It really is a sincerely, like, beautiful system. And no happily fulfilled, because it's not all about being happy. It's not about emotions, like feeling happy all the time. But when I say happy, I mean like fulfilled, personal, productive, fulfilled, content with their life man walks around talking like that. So when somebody says stuff like that, like I sincerely, like and I know somebody's gonna take this the wrong way. I see that innocent baby, I see a hurt child. Like, yes, you're hurt, like walking around. What is the point of that? Like, what is the actual point? 13 women in our country, the US, get unalived every day. It's femicide. It should be considered a hate crime. See, I don't like how this life has turned into this because there's so many hurt men that hop onto every live. I was having trouble filming this to edit it. And I was like, I'm just going to do a live video about this because it's probably not going to get that many views anyway. So maybe I'll take that video and edit it. And then, of course, now I'm getting more views than I expected. And I appreciate people for hanging in here. If you haven't seen my content before, I say it all the time. Internalized misogyny is a problem women are like just as much as fault. Women hate women just as much as men hate women. Yes, it is the hate of women. You have to hate half of the human race if you look down on them enough to have to remind them that you could hurt them. They wouldn't have your rights. They're not as smart as good as you. Meanwhile, like my husband would never say that. He saw me give birth, like he would never say that a woman's job is so much less than a man. The men that have built the infrastructure have destroyed our planet. There will be no planet left in a few generations. And y'all are talking about going to Mars. Like this whole like colonization isn't good in my opinion. And like people look down, I'm gonna bring okay, one person that would like write these beautiful monologues on all this Titus content. I look forward to every one of their comments every time I saw their handle, and they just like have the most prolific thoughts, like just eloquent written. And then they told me when I was talking about how I thought Elon Musk should help people in South Africa, how little kids die falling into pits of waste every year in South Africa. Somebody with Elon Musk's money could help people like plumb and have septic tanks and just like better facilities in these rural areas of his homeland. Of course, he doesn't give a shit. And this person that was like this great Christian that wrote great monologues, they told me if Elon Musk gave them septics, they would dig them up and sell them. That these like they didn't call them savages, but they might as well. These like savage people couldn't be given wells and septics. Like, oh, I am just so tired. Why am I even talking about this? People looking down on other people, people propping up the white men that have literally destroyed the planet. Like it's uh, not a great thing that we're so advanced. That's why I like Kentucky because it's a little behind in the times in a lot of ways, and that's a good thing, and people like that. And, like I said earlier, we don't even have the same high-speed trains that a lot of other developed countries do. Like, we're really far in certain technology. I think we should be living like the Jetsons. I think we should have moving sidewalks, like all the money that's floated around our country, all the tax dollars. There's like towns here around here in South Central Kentucky. It's like they can't stop putting roundabouts in. What's the deal with roundabouts? Is it like that anywhere where you guys live? And yeah, do you think they're going to automate construction anytime soon? And we could all agree that's not going to happen, right? It's the same thing inside a factory with manufacturing. It takes so many people, there's so many factors, so many different things to take into consideration that could go wrong. And for every machine that helps automate a certain process, we are already automated in a lot of ways, guys. There needs to be a human, even if it's fully automated. That human has to be there if it breaks down, needs material fed into it, something. There's always something, right? The woman I am with, if it was some other chick, I would have been gone. What are you talking about, Bullethead? I missed a comment or two from you, I feel like. Alex Trema, all have the opportunity to be promiscuous. They just have to choose the right woman. And I keep saying this lately, like, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, but I think that, 37 years married and she cheated in our 7th year, now the marriage is so much stronger, Corey said. So everybody's been faithful for 30 years, Corey. I'm glad to hear that you're doing well now. Yeah, and I've said that before. For everybody that's gonna call me a man hater, men cheat less in marriages. There's like so many good things to say about men, but I often feel attacked. I know that makes it sound like the victim. Like I get on YouTube Live, trust me, I know I bring it on myself. But it's just interesting to me. It's like it only further affirms my thoughts on the internalized misogyny that's rampant. And if we could all unpack that, the whole world would be such a better place. There'd be a lot less lonely men. If you could look at women as your equals and like be proud of her accomplishments instead of being like, oh my gosh, I wish they had less, so I had to have her under my thumb. I wish she didn't have the opportunity to get the resources that I used to only be able to give to her dad, and like now that she can't, I can't abuse her as much. That's the mentality coming from that. Like no matter what happens, like my husband is there like cheering me on. And like I couldn't imagine if he at any point said I couldn't do something just because I was a woman that didn't have something to do with brute force, right? Like there's always that physical strength that women don't have. But I don't understand the point of saying that women get their rights from men because so many men are so horrible. The system was set up that way. Like, do you understand that? Like, and you're a victim to the patriarchy just as much as the rest of us. It didn't start as her blaming men. I don't think she's blaming men. I think you all men are making her and twisting her words, Bullethead James said. Thank you for understanding, Bullethead. And yeah, it's like I keep saying, I'm a mother and a mother of three sons. Okay, sorry about that. I got a call, I rejected it, and then I froze. Am I okay with you guys now? I should get off of here soon. I agree about treating equally, but we are not equal in reality, LJD said. Well, okay, so this is how I feel. Legally, we have equal rights now, right? As of like 1970 or whatever, 1979, women could get credit cards and loans on their own without a male cosigner, which really, when you think about it, that's pretty crazy. In like 45 years, that's only been not that long that women have had like the same rights. I don't believe in the wage gap. Like I do believe that there's that women make less money, but it's explained by women working less because we have the babies and stuff. I don't think like men literally, I've never had a job where a guy made more than me. I know that that does happen. Don't get me wrong. Like I know people, especially at salary jobs, find out like their predecessors making more than them and stuff. And like that's fucked up. But I don't think it's necessarily man all the time. The man gets paid more than the woman. I don't think that, especially at hourly jobs. I know that's not true. So women have equal rights legally, but we're still catching up in the social regards. And I never thought in my life, 20 years ago, I didn't think this many men were this misogynistic. I genuinely didn't. I think it's the same with racism. Like maybe people always were this bad at heart, but like this culture has brought it to light and people don't keep it inside anymore. They just say what they want. Did you guys see there was a teacher in Georgia, I believe, a male teacher talking about how females shouldn't be educated in a high school, talking about how the worst thing we ever did was give education to females. And guess who recorded it and got him reported? It was a teenage boy. He knew it was wrong. And listen to this woman talk. The mother of the teenage boy was so great. She said she lost his father a few years ago. She's widowed. She's a single mother to no fault of her own. She lost him and she said, "I depend on like male educators to help me raise him now that his dad's gone more so, you know? I need those male influences in his life and this is what they're going to teach him that women shouldn't. This is how deep this red pill misogynistic crap goes in public high schools. Male teachers are saying that girls shouldn't be educated. And if you're okay with that and you're subscribed to my channel, I'd sincerely appreciate it if you unsubscribe and never come back. Like, if you really can't see how fucked up that is, and you can't put yourself in the shoes of like a female, your daughter being there, like that is so messed up. That goes hand in hand with the number one reason a woman gets unalive during pregnancy. It's like this hate of women that causes men to go in on random YouTube lives. I'm talking about factory work and the supply chain. And I'm trying to speak up for a lot of you guys that work really hard to maintain the supply chain for all of us. That's what a lot of my content is about. And you make it twisted into me hating on men because I have to, I'm going to give you the rebuttals. It's true. There's more women in the workforce. There's more women getting higher earning education degrees. There's more women buying houses than their single male counterparts. It's not about women being the victim anymore. You can't say that women don't take accountability and we play the victim or whatever. Like clearly there's some stuff going on with men. Oh, Amorsita. No, 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 no. I don't want that on my channel. No. I don't believe in genocide or people that commit it. Okay. This whole world is so fucked up. That's another reason why I don't take any of this too seriously. Just on the other side of the world, there's like little kids starving to death and like lots of them. I don't really care that much about what any of you say about me. It's sad to me that there are people that have technology such as this in their hands and they choose to like harass a woman that's talking about blue collar workers in the supply chain and how it's not going to be automated anytime soon. And I believe at the root of this is the disrespect that people feel for blue collar workers. You look at people as less than, oh, and delivery workers, and not so much like the male workers, but like Instacart, DoorDash. I know a lot of you think that's not a real job, but it's like anybody that's doing any service for me, I'm gonna like respect them. I'm gonna listen to what they have to say about it too, you know? Standards are certainly being lowered at colleges. Well, then why aren't men getting even more degrees, Alex? That doesn't make any if you're trying to say that as an excuse for men getting less degrees, that would only make it look even worse for them, right? Because they should be able to get them even more so. If the standards are lower, they're just not even trying. They're not evolving with their fellow females. They're like, "Oh, no, wait, you're supposed to be like my grandma, and grandma told us to go to college and get the degrees. Grandma told us to always have a source of money. Grandma told us how horrible it can be when grandpa gets prescribed testosterone in his 70s and she just wants a fucking break." Okay. You guys make me go there. You guys need to hear these things because obviously you don't hear it. So when I do have the ears of these misogynistic red pill people because they just flock to me like moths to a light because I'm a female and they just like can't wait to try to like bring a female down like lobsters in a bucket, I'm going to try to give you a little bit of wisdom, try to remind you like we bleed 15% of our adult lives. We bleed. And some of us go through a lot because of the organs that bleed 15% of our lives. So you think lives are like life is easier for a woman. That just shows how much you've like not been enmeshed with a woman. Not everybody's supposed to be in partnership with somebody else their whole life. So I don't mean it like you're less than if you're single. Even the Bible says, you know, like marriage is for some people, it's not for other people. Like I really don't believe everybody's supposed to be married. It's the people who voice that they would be if they could be, and they're having a hard time. And at the same time, they are so misogynistic and look down on the people that they're in. And this is men, women do it too. Okay, but I think there's way more men that like there's women don't walk around talking about how men should be able to vote because a few percent of them commit 90% of the violent crime, you know? And then because a lot of us are like Karens and can get emotionally reactive and like don't grow out of that our whole lives. I'll give you that. I have to deal with it too. I have to deal with women too. Like and women aren't as nice as they used to be. Yeah, I agree with that. What are you gonna do about it, you know? What are you gonna do to improve yourself? No, I get it. Dogs are dude, our dogs, you need pepper spray. Yeah, I have an intact male dog, and it really shows like why people like would say derogatory things about men and compare them to male dogs. That dog, he's getting neutered soon. I can't wait. He is just all he does is walk around. Oh, he wants to be outside. He wants to mark, 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 mark. And like I know we kept him intact. He's a mastiff. You want to keep them, you know, until they're fully grown, so their hormones help their growth plates form. They don't have as many joint issues. I don't ever want another male mastiff again. I don't ever want to go through this ever again in my life. My female perfect dog, she just sits there, perfect mastiffy dog, and he's just like, oh my God. And the one he we had with her, the way he acted was the problem. She just sat there and he's like, Okay, I'm not gonna try to imitate. I've never heard a sound come from an animal like that. So it's just funny to me. And it's like that out of control, like you can do so much to control where your energy goes to control your thoughts. And you see a woman making $1 million a month on OnlyFans and like not let that get to you so much. Like we all feel the same way about that, but I just feel like there's so much like misplaced energy when able-bodied men is capable of so much, and that's what is really sad is you guys have the ability to do whatever you want with your life. What are you going to do to the superior gender? I don't think there's a superior gender. I know you're probably joking saying that, but, it sounds like you're sexist and probably recovering from a traumatic event. Well, aren't we all recovering from a traumatic event, Sir Jacob? 9.5 out of 10 people have trauma in their life, so, um, but I'm talking about internalized misogyny. I do not consider myself a misandrist. I don't look at a man and think anything less of him just because he's a man. I treat all people equally. I really do. And I think that I my channel is a testament to that. And I don't expect you to know that if you just walked in here, Sir Jacob. But I have a lot of male viewers, people that are in here on a regular basis, people that like we're growing together. You know, like we walk on this path together. We're on the same team, you guys. That's how I look at it. It's us versus the elite oligarchy, and part of how they're doing divide and conquer is like trying to like pit us against, the classes, the blue collar workers and the white collar workers, the males and the females, the black and brown people and the white people. And it's just, we're all on the same team at the end of the day. And we need to like form community and quit dividing each other on our differences because you could do that all day long with anything, you know? And the beauty of America is we will never be homogenous. We won't. I left a town in southern Indiana because it was overrun with the immigrants. And I say that as somebody who's 25% Central American myself. Like, I know that doesn't mean I can't be racist towards Hispanic people, but like, I do understand like what is going on with immigration and having like a bunch of people from the same places coming in and not assimilating. That's not America either, you know? And like, but I love our melting pot and how there's like different cultures, and for them to come in here and divide us, it's really easy in a place like here where there's so many differences, right? Batia, thank you. That's so sweet. Realistic American reformer. Something about generational trauma. Yeah, I do believe in generational trauma a lot, and I bring up this analogy a lot. The Irish potato famine. Granddaughters of women who almost starved. Granddaughters, their grandmothers almost starved during the famine. They process fat and food differently because of their grandmas almost starving to death. And I know that's a very physical thing, but I just often think of like how we are affected by the physical things our ancestors went through and even emotional traumas, right? Totally possible. I'm sorry to hear that, Hammer Time. You are correct about divide and conquer, LGD said. Yeah, I definitely don't think I'm right about everything. That's why I welcome dissenting opinions. I'm like somebody that's worked in a factory or warehouse. I really would love to hear your opinion. Like I don't I think I'm like I don't want to put myself on a pedestal. I like learning new things and being proven wrong. Even I accidentally said, what, I didn't say 1492. I said like 1462 or something. Like when Columbus came here and somebody corrected me in the chat and they're like, I'm sorry, but it's 1492. And I was like, don't be sorry. Like, please correct me, especially if I get like a straight up fact wrong like that. I think that I've changed my mind like on my YouTube channel. Like I said, women didn't have a problem with adult media, like the written adult media. I'm like, women don't read pornographic novels. I was proven wrong. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm finding out so much more about that. And it's like making me sick to my stomach. Not only do women indulge in that in a way that I wasn't aware of, but it's like the stimuli of like it's like bestiality. So it's really shocking. And I do feel for men and try to put myself in other people's shoes because I'm not dating. I'm not out there like that, but I still think there's more good people than bad. Thank you, Tim. I adore you. And if there weren't more good people than bad, men than women, like it all would have gone a lot worse, a lot sooner, anyways. Not that we aren't at the end of times right now. But yeah, I just wanted to get this off my chest. So I like have a little alone time. That manufacturing, in my opinion, isn't going to be taken over anytime soon. I think that they're trying to do this as a cover up for like when like this depression that's already hit this recession we're in already. They're just not calling it that yet. When people lose their jobs in manufacturing, they're going to be like, oh, it's just automated. No, it's going to be like they don't need to run the assembly lines as much because they don't need to produce as much because nobody has any money to buy anything anymore, in my opinion. It's more so stuff like that. And maybe even I saw it happen at Walmart warehouse. It's called distribution center. They bus people in from other countries. In my opinion, they know they have dead people's social security numbers because this happened several times. They literally bus loads of them. And then a few months later, they're like, oh, they all had dead people's social security numbers. What do you know? What about that? And like, so maybe there's gonna be some more of that going on, and I know ICE is all over the place and everything. But I'm just saying, maybe they're taking some of those people and, like, busing them somewhere. I don't know. Anything to have a bigger profit margin for some of these companies. Now, the last company I worked for was great. I have nothing but good things to say about that company. Not all companies are horrible. They gave me benefits that literally saved my life. I was close to getting cervical cancer, and I finally got a hysterectomy after 5 years of trying, 10 years of dealing with precancerous condition in my cervix. So I am eternally grateful for them. They gave me health insurance for $56 a month, family of five. That's unheard of, including dental. Good Anthem health insurance with like a $4,000 deductible. It was amazing. And so because of companies like that that actually do care about their employees and give them benefits, subsidize them where they can like that, I appreciate it, and I we need people working those jobs. Like every time I go shopping, I think about it. Like if you never worked in an industry like that, I get it. You might not be aware. Every single thing on every single shelf you've ever shopped at was pushed around by a bunch of people and a bunch of different supply, and semis, ships, semis, forklifts, pallets, going to the store, unpacked, a person taking it off by hand, putting it on the shelf. Like there was so much work that went into that, and it's some of the most important work, second to health care. Keeping our bodies going and healthy and maintained is the only thing that's more important than the supply chain, because that's part of it, right? And during the 2020, it got to me. My husband worked, and I worked seasonally. I worked for a few months at the same warehouse. It like the way that people got praised that worked in the healthcare industry. There weren't anybody at factories and warehouses doing no dances during that, okay? And they were working in hot, unair conditioning facilities with the masks on their faces, still far away from people. You still had to wear the freaking mask. Getting what is that term for low oxygen? I know I felt it. It's not right. There's people that passed away that got the experimental medicine. Like, it's just so horrible. All the things that the factory I worked at for 18 months, two men passed away while I was there. And I have no doubt, like, it had something to do with how hard they worked. It had something to do with the hours that they worked, the 6 days, 7 days a week sometimes. And that's what gets overlooked. And that's what gets to me the most when people say this stuff about like automation. It's just like furthering that mentality that like this work is unskilled, it's unneeded. The people that do it are less than. And I know not everybody feels like that, but like I think that too many people do. And we're all dependent on them, you know? Sometimes I would venture to say even more so than healthcare, right? Like, but I'm not saying it's more important. I don't mean it like that because at the end of the day, life-saving emergency medicine is always going to be so important. That's why I think like emergency doctors, surgeons, I don't see those things being automated like that kind of intellectual ability it would take to troubleshoot in a moment like that. Okay, I'm sorry I haven't been in the chat in the minute, but I am going to. After age 25, dating is a waste for men. That's so sad, just me. Well, in my opinion, I think we need to start preparing people. I know not everybody's ready in their 20s, but ideally by 25, I know people are going to fault me for saying that. Ideally, you'd be married. And I know that's not for every man, but we need to quit shying people, pushing people away from it. It's a blessing to find your partner younger in life. And I feel like I grew up with my husband, and yeah, that was a bad thing in some ways too, right? Because neither of us were given good guidance. But if we could guide and mentor our young people instead of just like sending them out into the world and being like, oh, you find out what you like by like sleeping around and dating a bunch of different people, like, um, I just don't think that's very healthy. And it kind of plays into that like women are only use and beautiful. That's honestly towards you, that, but like it's kind of creepy how many men want women that look like a baby face. I'm like, I'm sorry, like it was weird. I worked in a custom paint mixing facility and it was all factory besides certain things like capping, labeling, yada yada. But there was paint clogs in the pipes, paper jams, glue spills, Yoder said. Exactly. That's a good point. Constant stuff to troubleshoot besides the machines, like just the physical things that can happen. The feed of a material is a little off and the whole machine is like wonky until you like go in there and fix a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Is things spilling? I mentioned hydraulic fluid leaking earlier. Like a machine might not catch that. Often the person running the machine doesn't. It's somebody walking by that's like, oh shit, you need to clean, we need to clean that up. Okay, I do need to get going now. Dating is worse for a woman over 25, I would say, to be honest. Yeah, definitely. No, most definitely. It gets harder and harder, in my opinion. I think a lot of the good ones are taken. I think I took one of the good ones. He was only 23 when we got married. Anyways, I need to go now, guys. I'm sorry. It was so great having this conversation with you, though, and I'm glad that I hopped on. What do you do with women who get divorced? Because society just tells women to get a job for jobs that don't exist, so the housewife becomes homeless. Well, I re-entered the workforce at the age of 37. If you're able-bodied, and I have health issues too, there's so many ways to make money, especially from the internet and everything. It's easier said than done. And with the living wages not being existent, it's even harder than now. That's why our goal should be to live beneath your means and be debt free as soon as possible if you ever do find yourself in that situation.